It is about 12 a.m. at night and everyone is asleep, and I figured, you know what, I think that this is the perfect time to do my 2018 favorite books of the year. So that's what we're gonna do, and since I have a couple of books, I thought that I would get started because I have a lot of fangirling to do. I picked out, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books that I just felt like they are a mixture of, they are really good books objectively, some of them, and some of them I just fangirled so much that I can't just not include them in my favorites. So we're gonna start with the most recent one, and that is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I actually I struggled to actually include this book in this video because I didn't actually fangirl over the characters, but it's just such a good book and it's so well crafted, and I couldn't get the characters out of my head, and I just loved each and every one of them. So I just can't, I feel like I have built a bond between these characters and me, so I can't just not put it in this list. So basically this book is about a group of mischiefs and, I don't know, just a very diverse cast of characters that somehow get stuck together and have to do this impossible heist. And if you guys like the ocean movies, like the Ocean 8, Ocean 11 I think is the other one, I think that you will enjoy this book very, very much. I don't know, there's just so much to it. It's so well crafted. This world is based on the Grisha trilogy, so even if you haven't read the Grisha trilogy, I think that this book on its own, you will be able to just, I don't know, get acquainted with the world. I don't know why I'm talking about this book because I feel like everyone has read it, but it's just amazing. The characters are very diverse, and each and one of them are so very well developed to the point that you really feel like they are real people, and they're not characters. And I don't know, it's amazing how Leigh Bardugo just crafted this heist, and how she, I don't know, not only does she manage to create this almost impossible task, but the way that these characters actually build their plan and their strategies, it's just amazing. So yeah, I really, really recommend it, and I think that is why it's on my top list of best book of 2018. Another book that is actually related to Six of Crows is Shadow and Bone, and I will be honest about this one, I don't think that this is objectively a really amazing book, but I fangirled so much and I read it in a day, and that hasn't happened in a long time, so I feel like I have to include this book. This book is basically a sort of prequel to what happens in Six of Crows, and this series actually came first. So this is Leigh Bardugo's debut novel, and it basically follows Alina, who is a girl in this world where there are Grisha and there are humans, and basically the story starts when a character who didn't believe she was Grisha. Grisha are people who have powers, so they can control water or whatever, the air or the body, all those sort of powers. She discovers that she is actually a Grisha and she's not a human, and yeah, we follow her along throughout this, I don't know, journey in her life. What I really enjoyed about this book is the Darkling. I feel like he as a character is so interesting, and as a villain he is really good, and I feel like villains are good when you want to root for them, even though the things that they are doing are wrong, and you understand where they're coming from. And I think that this book captured that perfectly. And yeah, I really do recommend it. The next book that I am going to talk about, I didn't actually think that when I read it, I didn't think that this will be on my favorites list, but it was so good. And that is Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. I think that this might be my favorite Cassandra Clare book, and I have read all of her works, except of course the ones that come after the sequels. So I have not read Lord of Shadows and Queen of Air and Darkness. I have not read those, but I just feel like these characters were just so well developed, and I think that there is a common thread here. I just love characters that are really well developed and that you feel like they're real people. So this book just, I don't know, I can't. I don't know how to explain this book, because I feel like to understand what happens in this book, I think you must read The Mortal Instruments, or at least I don't know, you will be spoiled, I think, for what happens in The Mortal Instruments. But this book follows the story of Emma, and she basically, when the Shadowhunter War was happening, she lost her parents and they were killed and murdered. And everyone believes that her parents' murder was because of the war, and it was just another casualty. But Emma believes that there is something more behind her parents' murder, and she wants to discover and see what actually happened. So yeah, this book is amazing, and I can't wait to read Laura Shadow, guys. I can't. The next book is one that this is like a guilty pleasure, because I don't know, I just had to. And that is A Court of Frost and Starlight. Guys, I know that this book sucks. I know it, but I fangirled so much over each and every one of Nesta and Cassian's scenes that I couldn't not put it in here. If we are objective, this book even has some sexist comments and scenes. So yeah, objectively, this book is not very good, but I can't. This is like my trashy series. If you guys didn't know, Akamav is my favorite book of all time. I feel like I reread it this year and I just loved it even more. But if you guys don't know what this book is about, this is a sequel or a novella. Like, you can see that it's very tiny. But the first book is basically a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. So if you really like retellings, and if you really like Beauty and the Beast, you will really enjoy this series. And yeah, it's amazing. Sarah J Maas could have my heart. Yeah. I don't know if I can say that I recommend it. If I am being objective, I don't think I would, but I don't know. I can't say that I didn't enjoy it. I loved it. Another book that I really enjoyed this year is Stranger's Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This book is just, I feel like I want to reread it, but I feel like it won't be the same because, okay, just so that you understand, this book is basically about a man named Laszlo, and his entire life he has been researching this city called Weep, and basically everyone seemed to forget what happened to the city. They don't know what happened, they just forget it's where it's located and what happened to it. They just know that the city is named Weep. Of course, that's not the city's real name, but Laszlo really wants to know what happened to the city, and basically the story is just him trying to find it and trying to find out what happened and why people forgot its name. It's just this, I really want to pick up after this, I really want to pick up Laini Taylor's other works because I feel like her writing is just beautiful, and her character development and just everything, it's amazing. And what I love about the story is that you really don't have a clear villain. We basically have various characters that are acting out of their own I don't know, they have their reasons for doing what they do, and you understand and root for them. Especially a character named Minya. I feel like throughout the book, despite the fact that she was doing something questionable, you couldn't just not root for her. I feel like she could be one of my top villains, if she can be called that, because I don't think that Minya is a villain per se. But yeah, it's, I don't know what else to say. The next couple of books, I don't actually have a physical copy, either because I have let them out or because I read them on my Kindle. So yeah, I want to start off with Kingdom of Ash. I feel like that is was one of the most anticipated reads of this year, and it was amazing. It was like 1,000 pages, and I read that in like a week, and it was so good. And I just love the conclusion and how Sarah J Maas just brought everything to a close. I don't know, I feel like Throne of Glass was one of those series that that started my reading life, or my reading I don't know. Yeah, it was one of those books that made me want to read more and look at more books, more fantasy books. So it feels very nostalgic to me, and yeah, it was amazing. If you guys don't know what the Throne of Glass series is, I feel like everyone knows, but Throne of Glass is basically a series about a girl who is put in this competition to become the king's assassin. So yeah, so basically she competes in order to become, why am I repeating myself? Become the person that kills who the king wants. So if the king wants someone killed, she will do his bidding. Yeah, so I don't know what else to say. It was good, it was amazing. Lead and Lorgan are everything I needed and more. And I love Dorian, and I love Kale, and I love everyone, so I don't know what else to say. I don't. Another book that I really wanted to, I didn't really expect that this would be here, and I will speak about both of these books because I feel like they're both classics. This year was a year in which I wanted to read classics, and surprisingly it became one of my favorite books ever, and that is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. It was one of the most amazing reading experiences ever. I don't know why, I just feel like I wish I could have met Jane Austen and just talked to her, because I feel like she was so ahead of her time. And even though Pride and Prejudice is a bit I was watching a video, I think I will link it below, in which they discuss what happens in Pride and Prejudice and how it is a bit and how basically Elizabeth is taking advantage of Darcy. I don't know, I feel like it's just a book that everyone has so many opinions about, and I just loved it. Since then I have bought many of her works, and I cannot wait to actually get to read them. I don't know, Pride and Prejudice, I don't know how even to explain Pride and Prejudice. I think that the best way to go into classics is to not know that much about them. I loved it, and if you guys love romance, especially a historical romance, I think that you will really enjoy this book. And last but certainly not least is The Phantom of the Opera. I forgot the name of the author. I think I will put it down here because I feel like it's a French name and I cannot pronounce French for the life of me. So yeah, I saw the Broadway show this year, and I really wanted to read the book because the Broadway show is one of my favorite musicals ever. and it was just one of the best experiences I had this year in general, and probably in my life. So I wanted to read the book, and it was so well crafted, and the way that it is written, you basically don't get you. It's written by, I think it was an investigator or a detective or something like that, who wants to know what happened to the opera ghost, and he basically narrates the story through the accounts of other people. So he basically interviews people throughout the opera, and through those interviews, he builds and narrates everything that happened. So yeah, it's just, if I don't know, I feel like these type of stories is best that you go into them not knowing much. But basically, it is about a ghost that loves opera, and he lives in the opera house. And no, it's not a cute and funny and kind and cute, and I already said cute, ghost. He is very scary, and he likes to torment those around the opera house. But he's also he's a genius basically, and he loves music, and he crafts very well, and he falls in love with one of the opera singers that is singing at the opera house. So yeah, I think that it is a wonderful book and a classic, and if you are able to see the Broadway show, I think that you should totally go for it. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. Yeah, I think that those are my favorite books of the year, and it's my first favorite books of the year video, and I feel so happy because I just loved all of these books. Next video will be my most anticipated books of 2019, so I urge you to stay tuned for that. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys for the next video. Oh, and also comment below any thoughts on these books, and any thoughts on, I don't know, your favorite books of 2018. I feel like I love to see what people have enjoyed in the year and their favorite books. So yeah, I will see you guys with the next video. Bye.